Hello everybody and welcome back to another modelled writing video. If you are new here today, then welcome, and I hope you find today's video useful for you. If you've been with us before, then you'll know how we structure these videos. So we will be looking at two task 2 questions. Task 2 are the longer essay style questions which you will have 40 minutes to complete, and there's a minimum of 250 words to achieve the task. So that's what the examiner will be looking at, the minimum word count. So today we'll be looking at two different questions. Then we'll be talking about the plan, how we would plan them, and then we would go and we'll do the write-up, and so you can see the process from start to finish. And along the way, there'll be tips on how to get the top band scores and how to structure these essays. So hopefully you'll be able to pick up some tips and tricks on task 2. Okay. Well, let's get started then. And the first topic of the day, we're looking at unhealthy food. The question: some people think that the government should increase taxes on unhealthy foods to encourage people to eat healthily, while others believe that this is unfair. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Okay, so the first thing that jumps out to me is this here: discuss both views and give your opinion. So we've got two sides and we want to interweave our thoughts as well. And the way I'm going to do this today is the first paragraph will be the introduction. Then I'm going to do the second paragraph, which will be the first main body. That will be the presenting the side that we're not agreeing with. Then the third main body, I'm going to interweave my opinion into the side that we do agree with. And then of course we'll end with the conclusion. So you can do this in more of say a 5 paragraph structure, but I really think that today I'll show you the 4 paragraph, and this is for me personally a bit simpler to make it clearer. It's quite nice to sort of weave it in. You can save a bit of time because you don't have to start a whole new paragraph. So I think this might be an easier way to approach this question. Okay, so the plan then, like I was just saying, I want to do the first paragraph, main body, with the side that we're not agreeing for. So let's have a read and see what we want to do here. Some people think that the government should increase taxes on unhealthy foods to encourage people to eat healthily, while others believe that this is unfair. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is argue for this essay that it is unfair, and that will be my opinion. And so the first paragraph, I'm going to talk about increased taxes. We still have to present two sides. Okay, so some people think the government should increase taxes to encourage people to eat healthily. Well, it might make people think twice about certain food items. And then perhaps these taxes, the money from taxes, could go to supporting the health problems that are brought on by bad diets. So money could go towards healthcare. So issues such as diabetes, high blood pressure, there could be more support in that area for people, perhaps more education, things like that. Okay, well, let's talk about the unfair side. If we are taxing unhealthy food, well, healthy food is also expensive, especially in the UK, for example. So it's not just unhealthy food that would be at a higher bracket. Healthy food is as well, like fruits and things like that. So you are alienating maybe poorer groups in society. So instead of making them eat healthy or inspiring everybody to eat healthily, it is just forcing families to struggle with money further, which is not ideal. Unhealthy food will still be popular. I don't think just increasing taxes will have much of an impact. I think people still lean towards it because it's convenient, it's time saving, it's delicious. On the surface, they make it really tasty because they want people to go back and eat it still. So yeah, and it's unfair for well, people should be encouraged to eat in moderation. So for the person who just wants a bit of chocolate, maybe here and there, it doesn't seem too fair to for the people who, well, for everybody, and for the people who just eat it as a treat every now and again. Okay, so conclusion, we just want to restate our opinion. For example, it might dissuade people, but it is essentially unfair. And of course, in the essay, we will expand on that a little bit more. Okay, so we've got our first paragraph presenting the one side, second paragraph presenting the other side, and then our conclusion, which just restates our opinion there. Okay. I think we can go to the write-up now, and the write-up will always, well, our essays will always start the same way. We want to paraphrase this sentence here. Some people think that the government should increase taxes on unhealthy foods to encourage people to eat healthily, while others believe that this is unfair. Okay, so we want a nice opening. To paraphrase this, we can say it is argued that the nation leaders should raise the price of less nutritious foods to inspire society to consume healthy options. On the other hand, there is an opinion. This is unfair. We can think of a synonym for unfair. This is unjust, maybe. Let's read this back. It is argued that nation leaders should raise the price of less nutritious foods to inspire society to consume healthy options. On the other hand, there is an opinion that this is unjust. Okay, I think that's good. Now let's outline what we're going to do. In this essay, I will present both sides and agree that it is indeed wrong to increase the cost of certain consumables. In this essay, I will present both sides and agree that it is indeed wrong to increase the cost of certain consumables. Okay, let's present our side that we're not agreeing with. The fact that taxes should be raised. Okay, so there is a point of view which there is a point of view regarding junk food, and that and that's in order to maybe dissuade buyers, the cost price the charge should be higher. There is a point of view regarding junk food, and that in order to dissuade buyers, the charge for it or items should be higher. Okay, that's a nice topic sentence. Let's explain a bit more and go into our examples now. So for example, if at the very least, it would make the average person think twice. For example, when presented with two different types of snack, one being a chocolate bar and the other being an apple, if the price would be equivalent, was equivalent, more individuals would be inclined to buy fruit. Okay, let's go into our second argument, that the higher taxes could be used to help the health system. Moreover, a secondary benefit from this would be the money raised from taxes could ideally be used in the healthcare system to support health problems linked to bad diets, such as diabetes and heart issues. Therefore, tackling the problem from all sides, from both sides, maybe. Okay, let's read this back and see how it sounds. There is a point of view regarding junk food, and that in order to dissuade buyers, the charge for items should be higher. At the very least, it would make the average person think twice. For example, when presented with two different types of snack, one being a chocolate bar and the other being an apple, if the price was equivalent, more individuals would be inclined to buy the fruit. Moreover, a secondary benefit from this would be the money raised from taxes could ideally be used in the healthcare system to support health problems, we've repeating ourselves there, problems linked to bad diets or issues linked to bad diets, such as diabetes and heart problems. Therefore, tackling this from both sides. Okay, I think that's good. We just went back and double checked everything, make sure the grammar is okay. We've got a variety of sentences here. We've checked for spelling. We've got our main points. We've used linking words. I think this is good. Okay, so let's go to our opinion point now, which is going to be that, well, it's difficult to raise taxes because you'll alienate groups from society. People will still buy junk food, and junk food shouldn't be, it should be available in moderation. So when somebody now can't afford it, it brings up different issues. Okay, so on the other hand, it is it's clear, or we could say, even though this may encourage healthy eating, it will cause some different problems or different negative, or it will have higher taxes would, this is a hypothetical situation, it's not happened yet, so we're talking would, if this happens, higher taxes would create some negative impacts, some unprecedented negative impacts. Okay, the main one being the alienation of certain poorer groups in society, as if healthy food is not always cheaper. Oftentimes, in the UK, for example, fruit and certain vegetables are imported and therefore more expensive. Healthy food is not always cheaper. So if unhealthy food was to be, food's price was to surge, this would cause, if unhealthy food's price was to surge, this would cause endless worries for many families. Okay. Inevitably as well, when education is not involved, so we're just raising taxes, we're not educating, in this scenario. Plenty of people will still buy unhealthy food, as it is time saving and convenient. which are the priorities, a nice bracket here, priorities for working people, for many working people. Okay, so you're just alienating people. Maybe we can answer the question, which is no doubt unacceptable. Okay, maybe I'm going to leave out the eating in moderation just because it's quite a full essay already. But it's better to have too many ideas than too little. So I'd still encourage you to write them all down, however small you think they are, and you can always tweak it in the exam. Okay, so when government, let's just include education quickly, and when government initiatives like this one do not include any education, they just mask the problem without providing or without addressing the root cause. When government initiatives like this one do not include any education, they just mask the problem without addressing the root cause. Actually, I think that's going down a different tangent, so I'm just going to leave it there. Let's read it back and see how we're doing. Even though this may encourage healthy eating, higher taxes would create some unprecedented negative impacts, which is no doubt tense, which no doubt would be unacceptable. The main one being the alienation of certain poorer groups in society. Healthy food is not always cheaper. Oftentimes in the UK, for example, fruit and certain vegetables are imported. We could say fruits are imported and therefore more expensive. So if unhealthy foods price unhealthy, so if certain items, maybe we could just say, so if prices were to surge, this would cause surge for, maybe we could say convenience food. We've used convenience later. Convenience food. Prices were to surge for convenience food, this would cause endless worries for many families. Inevitably, as well, plenty of people still buy unhealthy food as it is time saving, and thanks to the chemicals, it tastes, even though it can take chemicals, salt, and sugar, humans, let's move this, we'll shuffle this around. Humans think it is delicious. We'll still buy unhealthy food as it is time saving, which is the majority of working people. And then let's do thanks to the chemicals, salt, and sugar. Humans think that this These delicacies are intoxicating and sometimes addicting. Um, they will always sell in the supermarket. Let's see. So you're alienating groups in society, and people will still buy junk food anyway. So the whole idea to encourage people to eat healthy is redundant. Okay, let's tie this up with a nice conclusion. In conclusion, this scheme might motivate families for a while, or sometimes reconsider buying habits. However, it is incredibly challenging to stop the masses buying harmful food items, as they are prolific and delicious. Or we could say, however, inevitably, this will leave many people struggling to struggling to do their usual food shop, and ultimately you cannot stop people eating fast, eating poorly, as it is made to taste, as these foods are manufactured to taste delicious, something like that. In conclusion, this scheme might motivate families for a while, or sometimes, or might motivate families to reconsider buying habits. However, inevitably, this will leave many people struggling to do their usual food shop, and ultimately, you cannot stop people eating poorly, regardless of price. Let's leave it at that. Okay. I think that's good. As you can see, we've gone back and tweaked that one quite a lot. Let's count the words. Okay, so this comes to a grand total of 317 words there. So a little bit over the minimum, that's okay. I think this is quite a realistic amount to write in the exam. And you've seen how we've approached this, how we've structured it. This one we did go back and changed it quite a little bit. So never be afraid to go back, check for spelling, check for how things sound, the grammar. These are all really important factors with your band score. We've made sure to have topic sentences for each paragraph, expanded ideas, examples, nothing irrelevant. Okay, I think that's good. So then we can go on to a second language. That's the next topic for today, and we've got a different question now. Children are increasingly learning a second language from a very young age. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of this trend? Okay, right, so we don't have an opinion, we just want to express the advantages and the disadvantages. So, quite straightforward. I'm just going to write one paragraph on each. Okay, let's have a think about this one. Children are increasingly learning a second language from a very young age. Okay, advantages, disadvantages. Well, I can think of plenty of advantages. We might have to work on the disadvantages, but we'll see how we go. So, second languages. I know that studies show that this helps with children's ability to problem solve. It helps them with multitasking as well, all vital skills, planning. It helps them with concentration. So it really assists them in many ways. It is easier as well to learn as a child. When you become an adult, your pathways are more set in stone, whereas a child, the brain is able to change and adapt a lot better because it's learning anyway. So when you add in language, the child is able to pick up on this in an easier way. So if you're going to learn a language, the argument is there to learn it as a child. Okay, disadvantages then. If you've got experience with this, not that I wouldn't suggest putting in your personal experience as examples, but you can draw upon your own experience to use as general examples. But I wouldn't use I or me or myself in an essay. Disadvantages, well, you might lose your native language, native tongue. That could be children are trying to balance two. They might lean towards one, and one of the languages might suffer, perhaps your native tongue, their native tongue. So then if this does happen, then the second language becomes harder to learn if you lose your mother tongue. Harder to learn. It is expensive as well, unless you're learning it from a parent. It could be expensive, depending how you learn. And there's always an argument that this time could be spent in other ways. Time could be spent in other ways for children, e.g., I don't know, learning to read or something like this. Ways in which people might think is better for the child. Okay, so conclusion, there are many disadvantages. Then we'll just state a few in the write-up. There are many disadvantages. Oh, sorry, let's start with advantages actually to keep with the theme. Advantages and disadvantages to this. Okay. I think that's good. So we've laid out both sides. You might come across a question in the exam and think, oh, I'm really not sure. If you can't think of any downsides, for example, like this one, and these were downsides which, again, it's not an opinion question, but you can draw upon things that you perhaps wouldn't normally believe, but you can argue, again, not with your opinion, but you can use as examples, if that makes sense, and you can argue it. So yes, that's a good point to mention. Okay, let's do what we always do and paraphrase this sentence here. Children are increasingly learning a second language from a very young age. The younger, maybe there is a trend. There is a popular trend to maybe for the younger generation to learn a second language, the younger generation, or maybe kids, to become proficient in another language as young as possible, or as early on as possible. There is a popular trend for the younger generation to become proficient in another language as early on as possible. Okay. This essay will present both the benefits and the drawbacks. These are really useful synonyms for advantages and disadvantages of this situation. So that is a really straight to the point introduction. Yes, quite small. There we go. That's okay. Everyone's going to be different. Okay, so advantages. We want to touch upon all the skills that this will give the child. So there are undoubtedly a plethora of skills that a kid will develop through learning different languages other than their mother tongue, and this is the main positive outcome. Okay, that's our topic sentence. Let's go into the details. So studies have shown that a second language, we don't want to repeat ourselves too much, but sometimes it's unavoidable, unfortunately. Studies have shown that a second language aids with problem solving, multitasking, planning, and concentration. It's all essential skills for study and life in general. Okay, so that's our main advantage. Also, let's go into our second advantage now. So, an added advantage for a young person, it is proved that if you are to learn a language, the easiest way is to pick it up when you, or maybe prove that if one is to learn a language, the easiest way to pick it up it is when one is young, is growing. This is, or the one is still developing, maybe. This is due to the fact that the brain is more changeable and adaptable. It has not, we don't want to use contractions, we want to use the full words. It has not developed firm habits yet. This is ideal for learning, in particular a language. Okay, let's have a read back of this and see how we're doing. There are undoubtedly a plethora of skills that a kid will develop through learning different languages other than their mother tongue, and this is the main positive outcome. Studies have shown that a second language aids with problem solving, multitasking, planning, and concentration. All skills, all essential skills for study and life in general. An added advantage for a young person is it is proved that if one is to learn a language, the easiest way is to pick it up when one is still developing. This is due to the fact that the brain is more changeable and adaptable. It has not yet developed firm habits. It has not developed firm habits yet. This is ideal for learning, in particular, a language. I think that's good. We've demonstrated the advantages. Now let's go into our disadvantages. So while the benefits can be witnessed, there are also some unexpected or some less obvious downsides to this phenomenon. Okay, topic sentence for telling the examiner what we're going to talk about. The primary one being that when a child is very little, this can lead or more than one tongue can lead to loss of the native language. For example, if a child speaks, or if a toddler speaks French and German, but lives in Germany, this might lead them to lose French. If this is the case, learning a language that is not your mother tongue can prove more difficult. Okay, so you might lose your original language. Additionally, nice linking phrase. Additionally, if you do not, maybe if you decide to have lessons, which many people do due to accountability, this can become expensive. Some teachers charging upwards of £20 an hour. Okay, so we've got our two sides. We could add on that time could be spent in other areas. We could say there is also an argument that this time dedicated to language development or to language other than the native one is non-essential and could be utilized in more, we could say, in more useful ways, and maybe this could be utilized to aid the child in more critical areas like reading and writing, perhaps, in their first language. Okay, let's read this back and see how we're feeling. While the benefits can be witnessed, there are also some less obvious downsides to this phenomenon. The primary one being that when a child is very little, more than one tongue can lead to a loss of the native language. For example, if a toddler speaks French and German but lives in Germany, this might lead them to lose their French. If this is the case, learning a language that is not your mother tongue can prove more difficult. Let's do secondary language learning. Secondary language learning can prove more difficult. Additionally, if you decide to have lessons, which many people do due to accountability, this can become expensive, some teachers charging upwards of £20 an hour. There is also an argument that this time dedicated to language, other than the native one, is non-essential and could be utilised to aid the child and could be utilised in more critical areas like reading and writing in the student's first language, the young students. Okay. I think that's good. Let's tie this all together in a nice conclusion. So in conclusion, and in summary, overall, in summary, while languages or becoming advanced in an additional language has been proven to aid a young child's maybe cognitive development, or aid a young child's development. Yeah, cognitive development. I think that's okay. Cognitive brain development. That essentially means development. Becoming advanced in an additional language has been proven to aid a young child's cognitive development. However, it can lead to unexpected scenarios such as losing one's grasp on their native tongue. In summary, becoming advanced in an additional language has been proven to aid a young child's cognitive development. However, it can lead to unexpected scenarios such as losing one's grasp on their native tongue. Okay, I think that's good. Let's count the words for this one. Okay, so interestingly, this was actually one word more than the last essay at 318 words there. So a good size essay. I think this is achievable, and hopefully if you've been following along at home, you've thought that this isn't too bad either. You can think of some examples. This was a bit of a trickier topic. The disadvantages I found were a little bit tricky, but you can see how even though something might seem a bit difficult at the start, then once you sort of think around the issue, develop it a bit more, then usually ideas start to arrive. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's video. So we had two different types of questions today, two very different topics. And definitely with the second topic, that was a bit more of an unusual one. So hopefully that helped today. We love to hear from you. Let us know your comments and questions, and we'll see you in the next video.